Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for coming to watch. So, we guys an update on a major severe weather outbreak that is expected to slam the south central United States. We're talking about all hazards on the table, as well as very concerning updates from the Storm Prediction Center. I've got all the details coming right up. All right, so thank you for joining me here on this Thursday evening. We're going to jump right into the severe weather forecast because we really don't have much going on throughout the rest of the country, and this is going to be a topic that I fear we're going to have to talk about for the next couple of days, perhaps even the next couple of weeks or the next week or so. As this is going to be a very, very significant event. We're already talking about this just about a week out, but we're going to start out here by taking a look at your current Storm Prediction Center outlook. You can see this is our Day 6 outlook. So they have issued a 30% enhanced risk for severe weather on Day 6, which is extremely rare, right? This has only happened just about a couple times, in the past. I mean, this is something that we usually don't even see once during the year. But this is that kind of shows why this is a very, very concerning event. All right, so if you're in this orange shade, you are currently under already an enhanced risk for severe weather. It's once again 30% risk. It's going out for sections of northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, portions of western Mississippi into northeastern Texas. And then we also do have a very broad 15% slight risk in this yellow shade. Okay, that's going out for more areas of Dixie Alley here into portions of Alabama, the rest of Mississippi, a lot of central and western Tennessee, most of Arkansas. All right, this does include the DFW Metroplex, northeastern Texas, more of Louisiana there, and then that does also stretch into portions of extreme northwestern Georgia there. All right, so that's a very, very big and broad area that's currently under a pretty high risk for severe weather. I mean, considering that we're still 6 days out, I mean, this is even a slight risk this far out is still a very, very rare occurrence here, but that's a whopping 18.5 million people already under a slight risk, and this has 6 days to be upgraded. So this is going to change, and this is something that we're going to be talking about for a while. This is really the thing that's gotten people's attention, but this is a very bold move from the Storm Prediction Center. I think that it was the right move as soundings and as more model runs and more information comes in, things are starting to get and look much, much more concerning. So we're going to be stuck with this for a while, but this is subject to change, and we'll obviously provide more information on this over the next couple of days. And then finally, we have another outlook for the day after that. This is exactly a week out from today. So we're talking about a Storm Prediction Center outlook a week out, which is pretty wild to think because, if you're talking about winter storm a week out, I mean, you're only really saying that it's a signal. And we're basically saying that we have a strong enough signal for severe weather that the Storm Prediction Center can already issue a 15% slight risk for severe weather, right? And this is very broad. This is, I believe, bigger than the other slight risk for Day 6 here. This is going out for sections of Southern Virginia, all of North Carolina, all of South Carolina, a lot of most of central and southern Georgia there, and then a little bit of southeastern Alabama. This is also a very, very concerning outlook. This is going to be what the remnants of our main Day 6 enhanced risk is going to bring here, but this is also subject to change. The thing I want to note is that this has a total population of over 27 million people. All right, so that's the really concerning part about this, is just that this is a very populated area. Obviously, this is an area that does see severe weather during the year, but definitely not this early in the year. We usually don't see this kind of stuff, but this is going to be also a very, very concerning day or event, if you will, once we get this to day 1. So we're going to also have to talk about this. We're going to get through Day 6, and then it's not done. We have another round of severe weather coming up on Day 7 for the next day. And I quickly do want to go over the wording here from the Storm Prediction Center, because obviously you may be thinking, why the heck are they putting out an enhanced risk 6 days out? Well, they break this down pretty well, and they kind of show you they show you why they kind of jumped the gun here. But by the afternoon on Tuesday, moisture recovery across the western Gulf should be complete, with 70-degree dew points forecasted near the Gulf Coast by both GFS and European ensembles. Okay, confidence in the upper level pattern is increasing as the European ensembles have been consistent with an amplified mid-level pattern across the central and southern plains now for several consecutive runs. In addition, the GFS and the GEFS, which is the GFS ensemble, have also trended towards the more amplified European solution. Okay, as confidence in the overall pattern increases, the confidence for a significant severe weather threat has also increased, and a 30% severe weather probabilities have been added from East Texas to Central Mississippi. While specifics will remain uncertain until the event draws closer, the potential for multiple rounds of severe convection, which is severe thunderstorms, including supercells, clusters, and likely an eventual squall line, will likely bring a threat for all severe weather hazards, including strong tornadoes. You heard that right. They mentioned the fact that we could be talking about strong tornadoes 6 days out from an event. Okay, so this basically what I'm trying to show you guys is just how concerning the confidence that the Storm Predictions Center has in this being a very, very intense tornado outbreak. Because, I mean, you could, if they're talking about a significant severe weather outbreak and then they mention strong tornadoes, I mean, they're basically saying that what's happening is that the forecast or the likelihood of a significant tornado outbreak is increasing. All right, so that's basically just why this is looking very, very concerning. All right, so we're gonna break this down here, starting out with the European model. All right, so we take a look at what you got going on. You can see we do have a dip in the jet stream as our next Clipper system starts to move through, but notice how this high pressure is starting to stay north. This is going to push our next storm system, which is currently coming in from the west coast as we enter this weekend. That is going to keep this thing farther south, and that's what we see here. Our trough continues to dig down into the jet stream, and then finally we do see that low pressure system form right over the Rockies, and you get your classic negative tilted trough here, and you get a full blown sub 1,000 millibar storm system here. Alright, it's about 992 millibars, so a very strong storm system. Look at all this severe weather and all this thunderstorm activity that we've got all across our slight and enhanced threats. This is what we're talking about here. Very, very strong signal from the European model. Alright, so there's your low pressure system. This is your negative tilt. You see that comma shape? Alright, this is going to break cold air coming in from the backside, cold, dry air, your typical severe weather setup from Canada down through the Rockies and just the western United States. And then you have very, very warm and moist air surging up from the Gulf of Mexico, and these all meet right in this region, and that's exactly where we're going to see our severe weather. So you basically have two clashing, really strong boundaries of air, and that kind of just sparks the severe weather. And the reason why you're seeing all this convection is because the air out here is incredibly moist. It's going to feel like summer if you're out here because you're going to have dew points in the 60s and 70s with your temperatures, in the mid to upper 70s. I mean, it's going to feel downright tropical out there. But this is getting into Tuesday, so this is the big day that we were talking about. Things really start to get going by Tuesday afternoon. This is about 4 p.m. Tuesday. All right, so just a couple hours after lunchtime, you're starting to see a lot of that convection really pop up across portions of Dixie Alley into sections of Arkansas and Louisiana. And then really overnight is when this thing gets concerning. And it almost looks like, obviously the European model, not a high-res model, but it almost looks like it wants a little bit of a squall line to form. So really more of a kind of discrete supercell kind of setup here, and then they eventually congeal into a line. We could be talking about that. We could be talking about an eventual linear mode of severe weather, but I definitely do think that discrete supercells are going to be possible at this event. And that storm continues to move off to the north and east, and this really starts to take on that negative tilt. And this is a full blown, 987 millibar low pressure system, so obviously a very strong storm. But this is when we're getting to Wednesday. This is Wednesday afternoon. Look at that squall line across sections of Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. This will bring the threat for intense damage wind gusts. I think if I were to give you guys, my thoughts already on what we could be talking about for day 7, I think hazards-wise, I think we're probably going to be talking about a damage wind gust threat because what the SPC said in their kind of message there in their writing, they did say that storms are expected to eventually congeal into a squall line after they do produce tornadoes in the deep south. So I do think once that happens, we will definitely see a squall line, maybe even capable of producing up to 80-mile-per-hour winds. Now, it is extremely far out, it is 7 days out, so really we can't talk about specifics any farther than that. But I do think that this will be a very concerning threat, even if it isn't producing tornadoes, just like our severe weather down here into the deep south will be on Tuesday. All right, so that's the latest from the European model. Now we take a look here at our wind shear, and this is going to be our upper level pattern here. So we take a look, and you can see as we get into Tuesday, here comes your trough, and look how strong that your trough gets. I mean, you're seeing wind shear between 70 and 80 knots. This is overlapping with very very moist and warm conditions. All right, so you're gonna get thunderstorm activity, thunderstorms to build, and they're gonna start to move to the northeast. And once those thunderstorms begin to kind of fire off into this pattern here, this wind shear is going to cause them to rotate, and this is really where we get tornadoes from. And you can see as we progress farther into Tuesday night, look how intense our lower level jet gets. The European model is going insane right now and is showing 120 knots of shear, which is pretty unbelievable. But basically, with this environment, if you get any mature supercell, it is going to rotate and it is going to uh, really start to try to produce tornadoes, and that's why this is so concerning. But wherever you see the highest levels of shear, right, this is where we're going to see the most likely the highest threat for rotating supercells, and that's exactly what we see here across sections of northeastern Texas, portions of Arkansas, into southern Missouri. And I think if the European model does hold and the GFS does trend a little bit farther north, that I think could be where we could see that enhanced risk extend a little bit farther into Missouri, because if the storm system and if the trough positions a little bit farther north, all right, a lot of that wind shear is going to also make its way further north. So that's something we need to be concerned about. And then this is when we could potentially be talking about more of a squall line kind of setup here. That shear continues to increase, still 110 plus knots of wind shear, which is still unbelievable. But down to the Ohio and Tennessee Valley, we're still talking about likely damaging wind gusts here as that storm system continues to move off to the east. But that is a huge dip in the jet stream, huge trough that got going here. And then by Wednesday night, that kind of moves its way on out. So that's the latest as of right now for kinematics. I mean, obviously, this is going to be a very kinematics-based event. I do think that cape levels will be slightly lower with this event. But really, if you get any mature supercell to fire off across this region with this much wind shear, any storm could begin to rotate. So that's why this is a very very concerning event as far as tornadic potential here. All right, so we move on to the GFS. We take a look at SRH. This basically stands for storm relative helicity. So this is basically going to show us if these storms do move to the north and east, can they rotate basically? So the higher the SRH levels, the higher the helicity is. So basically, we're taking a look at how favorable the environment is for discrete and rotating supercells. All right, so we take this out to Monday evening. This is when really our SRH levels start to increase. But watch as we get into Tuesday. Look at that spike over portions of Arkansas. Look at that. We start to see SRH values of close to 600 here into central Arkansas, and these SRH levels continue to spike. I mean, look at this across section of the northwest Mississippi here. We're getting SRH values of over 700, which is extremely high here, considering that we're talking about a February setup, but this is continuing to move off to the east. I mean, this is getting ridiculously high, and this continues just to kind of push off to the east there. But keep in mind that this is overlapping with very, very high dew points and very, very high wind shear values there. So these storms are going to be discrete and they are going to rotate. So that's why this is a very, very concerning setup, because obviously these storms are going to have the potential to produce tornadoes. So That's something we definitely need to consider monitoring over the next couple of days. And finally, for your dew points, particularly your thermodynamics, you're obviously going to have a very moist and warm sector here, and that's what we see as that kind of warm nose continues to move farther north and that ridge starts to build. Look at all this moist air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico is your number one warm air source, and basically what you're seeing here is essentially all this warm and moist air evaporated coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. This is all going to push farther north, and it's going to come right into our weather pattern here. And basically, once your trough continues to form that low pressure system and move off to the east, you are going to see a lot of that low pressure system interact with a lot of that moist air, and that's where you're going to get your thunderstorm activity. So we're already seeing dew points here into the mid to upper 60s across much of the enhanced risk area. I mean, we're seeing dew points get close to 70 degrees as we get into Tuesday afternoon. And then as we get into Wednesday, notice how those dew point levels, they do decrease, but that's why we will most likely see more of a linear damaging wind threat rather than a tornado threat for our Wednesday severe weather threat. But this is for Tuesday. I'm gonna say this once again. You're going to have storms that are going to be moving into areas where you have very, very high dew points from the lower 60s to close to 70 degrees, overlapping with over 100 knots of shear and over 500 SRH values. That is why this is a very, very concerning situation. That's why the Storm Prediction Center has jumped the gun to issuing an enhanced risk. So very, very high dew points, very, very high and strong kinematics in general, and that's basically the latest on what we got as right now. All right, so thank you all for coming to watch. I'll see you guys in the next video. That's gonna be it. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you are paying attention to the forecast. We'll continue to provide more updates on this channel as we get closer and closer to this forecasting day. But man, this is going to be a very significant event. So make sure you are staying tuned and that you have notifications on, that you're subscribed to the channel. All right, so they are going to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.